Hi, folks. You are listening and watching the Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media on all of our channels and networks. I'm Mike Morales here in Southern California. That guy out there is.
Hi everyone, I'm Felipe de Herrera and I'm in Essex, England.
Yes, this is Felipe is our UK correspondent, our UK taster, and I'm going to put him and me actually through the paces because we have a special entry into our sipping off the cuffs. We have never ever done a Mexican ron, but today we are tasting Ron Libertad, which you probably are familiar with the Cuba Libre. Libertad is the libre is the root word of libertad, which means freedom. This was sent to us by the nice folks at Dr. Sowers, who also sent us the Sotomayor, Sotol, and again, it's a product from Mexico City that's being exported into the UK, and you can see this is nice. It's a cloth sleeve and very unusual packaging for this item. Um, since we know very little about it, we didn't get a lot of information, but Felipe has dug up something. So, what's the background on this? And by the way, just to let you know, I do have the Blanco, the unaged version, the silver. Felipe does not. So tonight we are tasting the añejo, and we'll save this for later on when we do the when Alex and I get together and do the rum Blanco. So what do we know about this brand? Because I didn't even know that they carried a rum. I mean, it makes sense that they would import it and distribute it in the UK. So, you know.
Yeah, I don't know what the rum consumption's like anywhere else. In the UK, it can be pretty high. We've got the classics, Captain Morgan's, and it just tastes like crushed up aspirin, doesn't it? The black label one. I think I used to drink that a lot when I was a kid. But this one is from Chiapas, 8 Family Community Project, trying to keep everything together. What it says on the website was they got together with the goal of creating a product founded in southern Mexico's culture. So get the cane sugar. It's in the Chiapas Valley. And I think I said, didn't I, before, 3 types of the sugar cane, the Criolla, Vitada, and Violeta. But the first time, apparently, that all 3 have been used mixed in.
Oh, so this is kind of like an ensemble, like a mezcal ensemble where they use 3 different plants. I didn't even know that there was a difference in sugar cane, but it makes sense. Like I said again, I know very little about sugarcane and the rum business. I grew up. I was telling Felipe off camera. My folks are from Central America, so I grew up with Flor de Caña rum in the house, and that was Nicaragua's rum before it became commercial. And we'd get a bottle from whenever one of our relatives would visit the house. And in those days you could literally put it in your luggage and bring it with you. And without the good old days, I really miss traveling when you could travel with booze. That was your carry-on. You know what I mean? Yeah, big bottles of whatever. And I remember how special it was when I was finally old enough to actually have rum, and the aged expressions weren't cheap. So the ones that we would our grandparents would bring would be the unaged, because obviously those were cheaper. And I remember it being much more rustic tasting than now that I'm older. I've had the commercial versions of them, the 12-year-old, the 25-year-old, and of course the more añejo they are, the more expensive they get. But I think like anything else, the bigger they grow, the more mainstream the flavor profiles become. So then one day it'll become like Bacardi, or like you said, Captain Morgan. So I'm kind of anxious to try this. So let's just I got my handy dandy Glencairn. We're gonna go take it through the paces and see what's what, and see if the 3 if the wow, I got bubbles. check that out. I want to make sure. I want to see if the three different sugar canes make a difference. And they don't tell us what kind of barrels that they're using or anything like that, right?
All I could find was that it was distilled in a copper kettle.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that's a. I don't know if that's. I know about production of say a tequila or a mezcal, but rum.
Well, a copper, in and of itself is more sought after than stainless steel because obviously a stainless steel still or a European still makes them smoother.
Mm.
Copper kind of adds a different uh, it kind of adds another layer of complexity. Now this smells really interesting.
Yeah, I'm liking this. It's a.
It doesn't smell. It smells more green and grassy. It's almost like a mezcal. It's odd. Um,
There's quite a bit of fruit in there, isn't there?
yeah.
The sweetness. Well, obviously, I know there's going to be sweetness it being rum, but
Well, yeah. It's rum.
uh,
It's a fairly golden color. I mean, it's not unlike some scotches and whiskeys that we've had, or even añejos for that matter. I mean, it's a pretty color, but um, what an interesting nose.
there's almost like some pineapple in there, isn't there, sir?
Yeah. I've never smelled these kinds of aromas coming out of a rum, especially the darker the rum is. That it's almost less molasses. It smells like anything but molasses and sugar.
Yeah, I wouldn't put this down as a rum. Just on
No,
the smell, it wouldn't be the first thing that came to mind anyway.
well, you said this is a product of Chiapas. Chiapas is known for several items coming out of there, like coffee. I've had coffee from Chiapas. It's
Mm.
really earthy. Anybody who's ever vacationed in Cancun or the Yucatan, the coffee you get normally in the hotels and the resorts, the ones you want is from Chiapas, and they're really good, but it's very earthy. And this is not unlike that. It's almost like I said, I'm getting like mezcal, like it's
Mm.
almost like a pechuga.
You think?
Wow.
It's like how I'd imagine something after a rain, after a thunderstorm. It's got that kind of feel to it.
Like a wet jungle. It's got a wet jungle smell.
And that's in a good way. I mean that.
Yeah, yeah. No, I said that about the sotol. I said the same thing when you and I did sotol. I said, some sotols smell like rain before it hits the ground because
Mm.
if you live in the Southwest, you know what rain smells like before it hits the ground. And wet cement and wet pavement smell different. And even rain in different parts of the Southwest smell differently. Like rain in
Mm.
Texas smells different than rain in New Mexico, and I've lived in both places. Even rain in Southern California, for that matter. So yeah, that's got that fruity jungle kind of
Mm.
wild. It's got the wild smell to it. Wow, I think we should dive in. I'm ready to dive in, man.
After you.
Cheers. Oh my God. Wow.
Guys,
Wow. On
that's
the
got a bite, hasn't it? It's got a bite, but it's really light.
Yeah, but it's got this lingering finish on the rear of the palate.
Mm.
The wood notes sing. They sing to you on the retronasal. It's a beautiful barrel notes though. Beautiful. And in the entry is where I get the
Mm.
the cognac, the rum, the sugar cane. I've never
That just smooths out, doesn't it? It's almost like having a mouth of warm ice cream. It's just just really melting through, and it's
Yeah.
yeah.
You really must let it linger on your palate because you really can't appreciate it by mixing it. First of all, I wouldn't mix this.
No,
This is a sipper. Because there's so many layers to it. I did not know what to expect. Like I said, my experience with rum is limited. I've had rum since. I've had rum from Costa Rica, which is like drinking colored water, in my opinion. Uh, I have had Abuelos rum, a sample of that that's made in Panama, which is excellent. Uh, uh, I have not had ron diplomatico, which comes out of Venezuela. It's the only thing that's being exported out of Venezuela that's making a big splash in the states.
well, we get
Everybody,
that over here. I had a
yeah,
bottle of that a few years ago, and it was quite pricey, but it was pretty good. I mean, it was pretty nice. I did like it, but not enough for me to buy another bottle though.
this is so interesting because I'm getting so many different layers.
Mm.
Like Felipe said, it's got that wet jungle, wet tall grass smell, but the aroma and the wood notes that really complement the whole thing. You've got to let it sit on your palate to get it all. I've never had this complexity in a rum ever.
It's
And
quite green, isn't it? It's quite green tasting. It's got.
yes,
It's not
yeah,
not not too earthy, but it's more the leaves of a plant than the roots.
yes. And I'm trying to. I'm really. You can tell that the both of us are kind of trying to see if we can interweave what we know about agave and how it reacts versus
Mm.
rum, which we have very limited experience with. But this is beautiful. I have one of our other tasters, Jim, in Ohio, which I have a tasting with later on this afternoon. Um, he's really good at piecing together whiskeys and bourbons, and I'm sure he's done a little bit of rum. But this is gamey. This is unlike. This is more akin to a craft Scotch, I think, or whiskey that
Mm.
has several layers to it. Because to me, what I'm sensing is that the wood is presenting the cane sugar instead of drowning it out because we're so used to having that dark molasses one facet sugar thing.
Yeah.
This one is really different. I never expected to see
It
this have this many layers.
Sugarcane is a different flavour entirely, isn't it, than a molasses or sugar beet. But
Right.
it's really coming out with that. I mean, sugarcane isn't something that we get really over here anyway in the UK. But I've had sugarcane. I've eaten it. When you sort of, I've been in the Dominican Republic, and they here, you
Yeah,
put it,
yeah.
and the difference in that, knowing what that tastes like, and then tasting this, it's just a whole different thing.
See, you're in a unusual position because you have had the root. You know, when we demonstrate agave spirits in the states, it's very difficult to put the source, the prime material,
Mm.
with the finished product, and so you're constantly trying to describe that to the American public. And so, in Felipe's case, it's the reverse. He knows what sugarcane tastes like, at least sugarcane from the Dominican Republic, and having some sort of bar for the base material, the prime material that goes into this. So your experience is really different from mine. I've never tasted sugarcane, not even in Hawaii. So, or from Hawaii. I'm sure I probably could get a piece somewhere at a bodega somewhere. They've got
The back
sugarcane.
alley somewhere.
Yeah, back alley somewhere. Well, I mean, I can get like, banana leaves that I use for my puerco pibil. I get those at a bodega, but they come from Vietnam, believe it or not, frozen in the frozen food section, so I can imagine that I can get like sugar cane from somewhere. But
We have
this,
that. We have. I know it's digression. We have that. If you used to go to Spain and have the prawns or the shrimp, the lobster, it'll be from the coast of Wales or something. The
yeah,
Irish Sea. You think, oh, come all this way for this beautiful seafood, and it's from 100 miles west.
this is lovely. I gotta say, it's got a beautiful nose. I the complexity is not unlike a beautiful Scotch, and I've had a few now. Now that Jim and I have been doing these together, and some bourbon forward uh, añejos, tequilas. Um, this rum, and it's rather thin. Here's the funny thing: the legs and tears
Mm.
on it are rather thin. They're which is okay. I mean, I'm all for no additives or glycerin. I'm so used to seeing the legs and tears clinging to your glass from a scotch or a rum that mainstream. But this one is reacting more like a mezcal, man. It's got I never expected it to have this much complexity in the not only in the aroma but the flavor.
Mm. And also, I do wonder. I haven't got any sort of immediate access, but you know, when you have a good rum, not a good rum, sorry, a good whiskey, put a drop of water in it, to, or maybe. But then, like you say, this is quite thin in a way. I'm not too sure if it will just open it right up. It's definitely worth it. At the moment, I'm quite happy. I wouldn't even drink that. I wouldn't even put ice in that.
Yeah, I don't either. I wouldn't either. I think because there's this like peppery explosion at mid palate, and then the finish is nice and long. I mean, it's just a beautiful. But
Mm.
like you said, it's rather light for as much complexity as it has. It's a light ron. It's a light rum. It's almost like okay. Here's one thing that I've not experimented with yet is rum agricole, which you can is popular not only in the United States but elsewhere, like in the Dominican Republic,
Mm.
St. Croix, those areas there of the Caribbean, where they make rum that's more handcrafted, where they call it rum agricole. I don't know if that's French or Spanish, probably a combination of both. That to me, this would be, I think we'd consider it like a
Mm.
rum agricole. There's also a rum spelled RHUM, and I'm thinking that is another type of rum. I think that's a molasses-based rum. Again, if you folks are watching us and you know anything about rum, and you're watching us on YouTube, let us know in the comments below what it is, because
Yeah.
I got to tell you, if you are a rum fanatic, if you're an oak head, you're gonna love this. But okay, cigar pairing. Could we pair this with a cigar?
That's what I was thinking. Well, when we're done, I might go in the garden and try it.
Okay, let
But
us know.
I'm not too sure what. I'm not too sure what. I'm trying to think what I've got.
Well, because you mentioned, you see there, right here at the bottom, in the middle, there is that fruit,
Mm.
but it's fruit. It's not sugar. It's like a fruitiness. And he called it. He said like a pineapple. I'm getting, like a pineapple. Um, I don't want to say banana. I don't want to say that because it's not more plantain
Mm.
maybe like a what they call cooking bananas or
Yeah,
plantains.
it's not sweet banana, is it? So,
No, This is like a whole jungle in your glass. This is fantastic.
oh. Do you
Wow.
know? I know what I'm going to have this with. I can't think of the size. Got a couple of little placensias.
Uh-huh.
I
Oh,
can't.
placencias.
Placensias, yeah.
Those are
So it's been a long
Nicaraguan.
day. It's been a long day, and I'm on the juice. Um,
Ah,
and they're a little bit woody. I think
okay.
I think that might go with this.
I've been to the Placencia a factory in Nicaragua. In fact, I came home with a couple of boxes and they've lasted me for a long. I have one left, and it's just seasoning in my humidor.
I only
Um,
found them last year. Found out about them last year. Got a box of some through,
I
and
I need,
they went too quickly.
yeah, I need to replenish. Those Nicaraguans now I think are where it comes to cigars. I think they're competing on the market so heavily. I think that they're probably one step below a great Cuban, and many of these factories in Nicaragua use Cuban seed.
Yeah,
So the terroir is completely different, of course, because it's all volcanic in Nicaragua. But
yeah. They're becoming my new favourite. They are, and they're a lot cheaper than Cubans. I know.
yeah, they're
Getting Cubans over here is bad enough. The tax is just
Oh yeah.
It's through the roof.
I got to go one more time. This is just as gorgeous. This is beautiful. Mm.
Do you know how nice it is to try something and not say something like it's got hints of caramel?
Yeah. But we haven't said it yet. You know, it's there, but it's almost minute. You know,
Yes,
it's a
I'm not
second.
mentioning it.
Here's the funny thing is it's the secondary. It's a secondary, almost tertiary compared to what we're getting. Oh, this is beautiful. I got to go. You know what? I'm just going to go and say it. Brand of Promise nominee, and this is in the special entry category. We've never. I'm really glad I did this with you, Felipe, because it's our first. It's our first run, and I would imagine I could even place it in the Ron Agricole category because it's just gorgeous. If you have it out there and you're watching us in the UK, maybe I think Dr. Sauer's exports or imports these and maybe distributes not only all over Europe, probably all over Europe. If you see this, get it. And before you put it in a cocktail, before you order it, you know, sip on it neat first.
What volume you got on yours? Sorry, I got 44 volt on this. 44%. Yeah.
Oh, the ABV on this?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Let me check. I didn't even bother looking. I don't know. The label is so interesting. Yeah, it's 44. So 40. It's even a higher proof than your average 80 proof or European bottling 38. But it's still very, as Felipe said, it's light on the entry. Wow, that's just gorgeous. I want to thank Dr. Sowers for making this happen. You guys are fantastic. You have a great product, a handcrafted product made in Chiapas. I could go. We could go on and on, but folks, you guys do it. If you see this in the UK, anywhere where you're at, or hopefully it's in Australia as well. We're getting a lot more. Felipe and I are going to get to do a really special one from Australia here shortly. But anyway, that's our take on Ron Libertad. And I want to again thank you to Dr. Sowers and the folks at the import and distribution company there that made this happen. I'm Mike Morales here in Southern California. That young man out there is
not so young, but it's Felipe.
and he is in the UK. I'm sorry, I'm making him blush. But you have been watching and listening to Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media on all of our channels and networks. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the notification bell, give us a like, and whatever you do, tomar sabiamente.
Sip wisely, my friends.